Good evening, all.
Good evening to all. I would like to thank the faculty of your institute and Dr. Jaypal in particular for giving us the opportunity to discuss, present our project called Viveka. So my name is Narsimha Prabhu. People call me as Prabhuji. I founded this organization called Light of the Self Foundation, which is about 25-year-old organization. It is involved in spiritual and cultural activity. We have done a good amount of work in teaching spirituality, meditation, Vedanta to the masses. We have centers in India, USA, UK, and Singapore.
Video is not on, right, for you?
Video is on, right?
No, your video is available, sir. We can see you.
Okay. So,
but you have not shared the screen. You have not yet shared the screen.
I'll share the screen. I'll share the screen. Okay.
Okay.
So, this is called a Project Viveka. Before going to Project Viveka, I just want to quickly introduce the members present here. We have with the Dawal, who is joining from Santa Clara. Because they are coming from USA time, we are starting this at 9 o'clock in the night. So I have Maitri, who is also from Santa Clara. Right now she is in Texas. And these are the experts. I have Shravan Kumar, who is the expert, who is joining here. And also we have Shashidhar, who is coordinating this project. So quickly, I want to show flash one slide. So we are working on a project called Project Viveka. The Project Viveka is to take the spiritual teachings of the Light of the spiritual teachings, meditation practices of the Light of Self Foundation, leveraging artificial intelligence technology. So here, this white box represents the knowledge base we have developed over the last 25 years. We have YouTube videos of more than 15,000 videos, which is English and Kannada. And we have knowledge base of more than 8,000 plus audios. We have Google Drive, where almost 30,000 pages of transcription are done based on YouTube videos and Google Drive. We have blog site and social media site. So here, most of the talks are based on my teachings for last 25 years. And we have many teachers. And there are many people who are interacting with the system for transcription and providing transcribed pages. This manual transcription is happening. So people access this database through internet. Many users worldwide. People who are looking for stress relief, seeking spiritual solutions, and many children. We are children's group also, and members of Atmajyoti Satsang, Light of Self Foundation. So what we are looking for is we have a knowledge base of which is developed in English and Kannada. So that we want to use artificial intelligence technology, leverage artificial intelligence technology to bring it out in other languages, Indian languages and foreign languages. So this work, bringing out other languages and foreign languages, involves taking out video, taking speech to text, and doing the cleanup work on the text. So then taking the text, translating to multiple languages, making it available through audio blog, video blog, and also using artificial intelligence avatar to communicate to masses who are reaching out to us with the different language or with the different language backgrounds. So the challenge for us is we have English and Kannada material. So that using artificial intelligence technology, we want to reach people who speak other languages, Indian languages and foreign languages. So there's a brief problem statement. I would request Dawal to explain what we are trying to do. And for the students and faculty members, any questions you can ask. Dawal, please, over to you.
Thank you, Guruji. So yes, we will start the technical portion of the overall application. Before we start, anybody had any specific questions or any areas that they would like me to answer?
You can show your hand on the, you can show hand symbol and ask question.
Great.
I think we can start.
We can start. So I'll share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many of you have played around with ChatGPT?
I have done it, sir.
Done it? Okay. How do you feel about the technology?
I think it's alternative to Google, and it replaces a programmer in the future.
Correct. Correct. So OpenAI is a company which is developing artificial intelligence, various artificial intelligence tools. One of them is ChatGPT. One of them is also some coding related tool which can generate code once you give a requirement, and it will write code for you. So in the entire process that we are trying to do, the first step is preparation of data. We are creating an NLU based chatbot, which will eventually feed the output to a video generation system, avatar generation system, which will on screen interact with users. But as a first step,
Hey, Dhaval, I'm seeing a AWS web page. Are we? Are you sharing that?
Yeah. I'll share I'll share the right part shortly. So as a first step to that, we have to prepare the data. For any NLU based chat system, we have to prepare the data for that. Now we have a lot of data in form of video. We have a lot of data in form of audio and in form of text that we need to process for curation purposes. Now, before we start into the project, I want to discuss a bit about the strategy of the first phase. What strategy we are planning to take, and what are your thoughts on that strategy? So we want to draw a parallel between what somebody did before like 60 years and how we are approaching this project.
Sir, just sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can we record the session?
I think it is being recorded. Can
it's been
confirm? Yeah.
Is it recorded?
Sure. Yeah. And this is an approach that I also frequently follow when I do my work in the office. So there was a person called Paul McCready, who was the first to build a human-powered airplane. That means an airplane that can fly by somebody pedaling. And, that was called Gossamer Condor. So there was a challenge between a lot of inventors to build a human-powered airplane first. But that challenge was going on for like 18 years before anybody did it. And nobody was able to do it by 18 years. So then Paul McCready came into picture, and he was able to do that invention within just 6 months. So what is it that he did that allowed him to go so quickly when other people were not able to build the same in 18 years? So it says that he thought really hard about the problem. When others were focusing on the solution portion, that this is how we are going to do, this is how we are going to make the airplane, and let us quickly try to make the airplane and then see if it works or not. He said, no, I don't want to build the airplane first. I am not going to immediately focus on building the airplane first. I'm going to first focus on the process of building the airplane. He thought very hard about the process of building the airplane, and he thought that what he can do to speed up the process of building the airplane, because he saw that everybody else is trying to build the airplane. They are trying for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. And after 6 years, they put it into production, and then they realize that this is not working out. So what Paul McCready did was, he said, no, I don't want to worry about that part. I want to first create a process in which I can quickly build airplanes. So he came up with a completely new problem to solve. How can you build a plane that can be rebuilt within hours and not months? If I fail building an airplane, then I want to get started with the next iteration and do it as soon as possible. How can I improve my process of building the airplane? So in that process, he found out some materials which are very easy to work with, which are very lightweight, etc. And obviously the first few airplanes did not work, but eventually his process started refining, and he was able to start creating plane within hours together. And eventually, after trying for a couple of planes within single day, in some 6 months, he was able to build a first human powered airplane. So the lesson here is that at times when we are solving a really difficult problem, we can also focus on the process part and think hard about how we are going to solve the problem, rather than going ahead and simply solving the problem. Does that make sense? Anybody has any comments or questions on that part? Did this example make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now we have all heard of ChatGPT, and we need to, as a first step of our project, curate the data that we have. Now I have a sample transcript of Guruji's video that we want to process for feeding into an NLU based chatbot engine like Amazon Lex. Amazon Lex is a chatbot engine which is NLU based, and it can allow us to create conversational AI. But for that, I need to process the text. Now, there are a lot of ways I can process the text. But one strategy I want to really try out here, I got it as a guidance from an AI expert based in America, California, Dr. Avinash, and he talked about this, and it clicked really well, for this particular approach. He said, why don't you curate the data that you have using AI itself, rather than you going ahead and curating the data yourself? Why don't you curate all this data that you have, massive data that you have, using AI? Can you figure out that part? And can you take the help of AI as much as possible during this entire process? That will greatly speed up things, because now you are using AI as a helper itself in the development of AI tool. So now I did that analysis on particular script, and it was very interesting what I could do within just couple of hours. So this is, say, for example, one small transcript that I took up. Okay, and now this I am telling to ChatGPT, rephrase the text I provide into an article format. Let's move this here. So one of the key challenges that we have with the text is that Guruji has given all these discourses when he's interacting with the people in front of him in a lecture format. And what the tool that we are building is expecting is, things more or less in article format or in a written format. So there is a subtle difference between the lecture format and the article format, in which article is going linearly from one concept to the other towards the end. And in a discussion, it's more interactive. You're talking to people, you're answering their questions. At times, if you feel that you need to explain a concept again, then you are explaining that concept deeply and things like that. Versus an article will start from top to bottom, and it will go in a linear format, introducing everything, once or twice. So there are some 10-15,000 such talks that we have transcribed, and it's in progress. And at times even we would need to do speech to text for them. So why we would not use ChatGPT to achieve that? So I've done some simple POC here, in which I'm saying rephrase the text I provide into an article format. So now it's saying that please provide the text that you would like to be rephrased. I'm giving this. It's taking a bit of time. See, hardcore spirituality is even hard for ChatGPT to understand. It's not so easy for it.
It will learn very fast, don't worry.
So while it does that, I actually interacted with ChatGPT on the same topic yesterday as well, while I was trying out all these POCs. So I can give the earlier transcript while it works through that. So rephrase the text I provide into an article, and it asks for that text. So I gave that text, which is a simple, verbal transcript of one of the talks on YouTube. Now this has converted it into a article. Similarly, I asked it to write it as an essay. So that was one more variation of this same text, and it used a different structure as an output. Similarly, I asked to write it as a blog post, and blog post was also a completely different structure from this article. So I got 3-4 different variation of the same text, having various levels of eloquency, simply based on the transcript of the text. So this is where ChatGPT was very, very useful in doing this task, which we would have not done so easily manually. So that is one example of using AI for AI. Now, why not even ask ChatGPT, how do I build an NLU-based chatbot based on the knowledge from articles? So it gives step-by-step process for doing the same, and it tells me what is the pre-processing and processing of data I need to do for creating the knowledge base. So in that, it says that I have to properly create a representation format for the text that I have. And in one of the particular, output, it says that I have to use NLP techniques such as named entity recognition and sentence parsing. And then I told it to create a knowledge representation from sample text. And it told me to, it gave me 2 examples of using named entity recognition and triples. So it was also able to extract out meaningful information from the text, although it's not very accurate. It can go completely wrong, but to start with, it is a great helper for what we are trying to do. So it can extract out metadata and important information from the text that we have just structured. Now, how many of you know something called REPL? Can anybody tell me what is REPL? It must, it must have come across in some of your studies.
Doesn't resonate, Dhaval. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So REPL is such sort of read, eval, print loop, which is a computer programming environment which interacts with you in this way, in which ChatGPT is interacting with us. And it's actually very useful for developing some complex workflows. Okay, when you have an REPL environment, you can develop some complex workflows, telling it to do something on the first input, then there is an output, and then you tell it to do something more on that output, and then there is another output, and then you tell it to process that output, and eventually you do series of steps to create final output that you want. So we can try and figure out the process through which we gave an input text to ChatGPT and then perform a series of transformations on that. And then it can give us an output that we want, which can be a good start to start feeding into something like Amazon Lex, which is a proper NLU based, chatbot. So that is what our initial thoughts are in order to speed up this entire task. That is all I have. Maitreyi, please, you would like to add anything here?
I think we just have to be clear that we will have to start using APIs for this and use Python based coding for this, where we can host it somewhere and run all these things through that.
Yes. Yeah. So this is at a very small scale, Maitreyi is right. So we are just, trying out this within the browser window because we have one talk. But if we have, say, tens of thousands of talks, then we cannot do this, at a scale from browser window. At that point of time, we would want to use the API that ChatGPT is going to provide and use that programmatically using a language like Python to process all these articles and then eventually store the output in some format like CSV or a database. So that is the next step into this entire process. First, we'll have to figure out what are the series of transformations that ChatGPT can do, and then use proper programmatic API access to do that on a scale for the articles that we have. Any questions from the team? Yes, please.
Dhaval and Maitreyi both. Number one, are there any known limitations of ChatGPT so far, vis-a-vis the kind of data we are going to work on?
Definitely. One thing is that it is not entirely accurate. So we will have to do a manual quality check for some initial talks, and do some sort of POC and manual processing to see what it gives as an output is accurate enough for our use case. If not, we have to try and refine what we ask and what we process until we get a satisfiable output. So one of the limitation is its accuracy. It does not know if it's not accurate enough.
Okay. And another thing is how much it is multi-tenant compatible?
As in?
Multi-tenancy, like, there will be so much of data. A lot of people will be working together on this. So the ChatGPT will have that multi-tenancy for all the people to work simultaneously.
That is available. So I think the scale is not going to be an issue. I think the API part, the ChatGPT APIs are not directly available right now. They are working on releasing it. So as soon as they are releasing the APIs, we will get to know of what sort of limitations they are putting for API access. And once that we know, we can probably have a couple of accounts between us to split up the workload.
Dhaval, can you remove the screen share if you're not doing, and then we can enter into discussion mode?
Yeah.
Okay. So to summarize, we have a huge database, huge knowledge base, which consists of transcribed text. The requirement is to create a AI-based curative process for further processing of this data. So Dhaval has just outlined the steps involved in the curative process. Any students or anybody can ask questions to Dhaval. Do you understand what he is trying to say? And is it of interest to you?
I have one question.
Yeah, yes, please. Go ahead. Who is speaking?
This is Dr. Patil.
Dr. Patil.
Yeah. Using OpenGPT, you may not get the solutions for all your problems because they are in the process of releasing their own APIs on OpenAI platform. Now, I think we need to use some Python APIs and interface with this ChatGPT to get the work done. Okay,
yes,
so work is, yeah. If I'm wrong, you can stop me and then correct me. Am I right? I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right.
Yeah. So I think we need to use Python APIs, and then that we need to interface with the OpenGPT, and that thing we need to find out whether the Python APIs can be interfaced with OpenGPT. Sorry, ChatGPT.
Yes, sir. Yes, I think once they announce the API access, we will have to do that POC on how can we interface with the APIs, with most likely Python, and how can we host that solution somewhere. So definitely, sir, that is an exercise on us, as soon as the programmatic API access is available.
Yes, sir. Yes. And basically, it is text to text or speech to text conversion. I think mostly it is text to text, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's right now, we have a huge database of text already converted, about 30,000 pages of text. There's in the phase 1, we want to do text to text. In the phase 2, we want to take speech to text, phase 2, not in the first initial phase.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That's all my side. No other questions.
I would request the students to speak out. Do you feel is interesting? What's your view on this project? Anybody can comment?
I think he is being the placement officer. I think all the students know his email ID. So request all the students who are interested in involving this project, and you will be doing this project either at home or in the college. We have now in my circular I have given all the details about the project, and we have R&D cell. The students can sit in the R&D cell and do their work in the R&D department or in any of the labs at RVITM. So first, to involve in the process, I request interested students to give your name to Dr. Malana Gowda Patil. So once if we get the names of the interested students, then we'll call them, have a meeting, and next process will set, and you can start the work.
Sir, we can give a timeout of up to Wednesday, 8th of 8th, which is Wednesday. By Wednesday, whoever gives the names, based on that, we will proceed with the discussion. Is that okay, sir?
Yeah. And probably if some students have forgotten to join today's session, I think we will also share the recording of this. And so we will give time till Wednesday. Probably Monday we'll share the video, and then Wednesday, by end of Wednesday, I think whoever gives the name, we will involve them in this project.
Okay. There's a question on list of prerequisites, Dawal.
Yeah, so can you elaborate on that? Like what sort of prerequisite do you mean?
See, the students have gone through ML, some people have gone through ML as a course material. Maybe artificial intelligence as a course material, basic. Is that a prerequisite? A knowledge of Python is a prerequisite. Is there any other prerequisites there? That's the question by, who is that? Vinod Kumar.
Vinod Kumar.
Yeah. Yeah, Vinod Kumar, are you there? Or got dropped out?
But still, I think question can be answered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, prerequisite wise, it's very simple. As long as you have coding and technical aptitude, that is all that is required. If there is some additional AI and ML knowledge that you have, that's always, going to help. But it's not that without that you cannot contribute, or if you have not yet started on that portion of your college, you cannot contribute. We will all learn things as we go. In fact, one of the things that we can ask ChatGPT is, how can I contribute to an AI project given that I have this knowledge? So it will answer you that, what are all the areas that you can learn, and then you can contribute. So it's more of a learning process, as long as you have that technical aptitude, and you are willing to contribute. This is, look at this as a learning opportunity.
So basically, would say a background of ML, AI, and Python, basic Python, is good to have. But more importantly, you have to be interested to explore, experience, and jump into this technology, get your hands dirty.
I would like to just quickly give one more perspective on Vinod's question. Vinod, the very, very fundamental prerequisite is you should be hungry. You should be hungry to learn, explore, and dirty your hand. I'll quickly give one small example. A lot of Light of Self Foundation people know about one gentleman who is very close to my family. His name is Yellappa. He joined me 10 years ago as a driver. The only skill he had was driving the car. And today he has learned Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, PPT. He knows all these. He independently raises invoices for the customers. He is a manager of my business. And I sit in RVATM, leaving my entire business on that gentleman. That's because he had that hunger to learn.
Yeah, to answer in summary to Vinod Kumar's question, Vinod Kumar, we are at the very early stage of technology. We are into latest and hottest from Silicon Valley. If you are there as a learner, if you want to learn, if you want to get dirty, your hands dirty, you want to jump into this technology in the early stage, you're welcome. Does that answer your question, Vinod?
Can we hear your voice, Vinod?
Okay, Vinod says, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
So good morning to Silicon Valley.